thing with any whistleblowing type of outlet, which WikiLeaks is. It's one of them. I mean, essentially, if the governments involved and the companies involved weren't lying and deceiving and manipulating people as a matter of course, then these leaks and the people that release these leaks, that blow the whistle on different things, would have no power. The reason they have power is because they contradict what the official story has been.
Well, I think the sort of general ethos here is, like we were saying about the yes men, you've got to be very careful about what's being put. Now, I remember it was April this year, in fact, I think, and I was releasing an article which I'd just seen. It was on one of the big sites, and it was about Steve Ballmer was championing Linux, or Microsoft was, and there I was typing away, quoting what Steve Ballmer had said, until I realised it was April the 1st. It was a big sort of joke on me, or joke on everybody reading the site. And I think it is very easy to pollute, like Roy says, to pollute the sort of legitimate news with something that can discredit you. Roy says he's been a victim of it. To my knowledge, I don't think I have. I tend to get very generic, very mundane emails about just people's opinions, so there was nothing ever groundbreaking in my mails, but it is something to be very careful of. And if I hadn't have suddenly twigged in my head that it was April the 1st, I would have been publishing a story about Microsoft championing Linux and wanting everybody to move over to it. So it's one of those things.
You see though, what you could have done is said, well, I knew it was all April the 1st. I was having a joke on my readers.
I was getting very much into it. I think I'd written about a page, and I was really into it, and I was really quite pleased with myself. I'd quoted and referenced and things, and then I've realised, hang on a minute, it's April the 1st. I've been had, haven't I? So, yeah, we all fall for that type of thing. Well, I certainly do. So, maybe that makes me rather slow. Just very briefly, and to split up, to split away from the topics we've been talking about, I've got a couple of little very short bits of news. Let me choose one of my topics. Yeah, the first one is about Bing. Oprah Winfrey has been promoting Bing, apparently, as part of a Christmas push to get people using Bing over the Christmas period. I believe they're offering special offers or something for buying clothes or buying items of buying merchandise or something over the Christmas period in a what seems to be a last-ditch attempt to promote Bing. The only reason I mention it is because Oprah Winfrey recently, on one of her shows, was giving out Xbox 360s to her audience, and it's obvious now that she's some way connected with Microsoft promotion. So my question now would be, when's the Oprah Winfrey artillery going to be wheeled out for the Windows Phone 7? Because that sure needs a lot of pushing onto the public, because nobody seems to be buying that, from what I've read. I don't know, Roy.
Yeah, I've watched quite a few shows of hers, especially when I was younger. But the reputation she has, if you're within the, shall we call the skeptics community, is that she's one of the worst ever. So she would have all kinds of alien people and all kinds of really weird conspiracy stories on her show because it's good for the ratings. And the other thing she's doing, she's promoting things based on business. She's she used to be one of like the wealthiest African American person, I think, at one stage. And one of the things she's doing there, she kind of markets all kinds of not just products, but sometimes an agenda. And I can tell you about a month ago or a month and a half ago, she advertised the Bill Gates agenda for education. She had a very stacked panel in favor of Gates, trying to promote this idea of privatized schools and something which gives him a lot of power. The other thing she did, like you said before, she did the Xbox thing around the same time, and obviously that's being paid for by Microsoft. So she's given all sorts. It's not a Microsoft issue. She gives all sorts of gifts to all sorts of audiences, and she's been criticized for it. So you have lots of people who like the show, you have people who know how the show works and what, you're not supposed to believe every guest the show has, but, sort of people who would watch the show or enjoy the show or trust the show, apparently.
I could make a little prediction on one of our shows then, one of our upcoming shows is going to be around encouraging people to get in touch with long-lost people not spoken to your dad in 20 years, get in touch. And here, we at the Oprah Winfrey Show, because we're encouraging you to do that, we'll give you a mobile phone. And this is courtesy of Microsoft. And this will be that might be a way to get rid of the stock of Kins. I don't know. Probably not.
I'd hope she'd give something away. I'd hope she'd give away something a bit better than the Kin. I'd hope she'd go for at least try with the new Windows Phone 7. At least that's got a little bit of dignity. Because the way it's going, obviously she's done the Xbox 360. I think it was a Kinect as well, and she's done Bing now. So the next product that needs a bit of a push, I think, is Windows Phone 7. I think is it Verizon or AT&T are pimping the Kin phone on special offer over Christmas. Are they giving them away cheap? I think we covered that in a previous show. I think they're trying to get rid of the surplus stocks now of the Kin. Don't know if you know anything about it.
As far as the Oprah Winfrey and Microsoft and Gates and whatever, the rich like other rich people. So, as far as they're on the same sort of a plane together, along with Buffett and Trump and all the big earners, and they respect that. So it's hardly a surprise, really, that they're pimping each other, and they're giving each other's agenda, because seeing them as role models and as idols as people with solutions to the world's problems, just to ease their consciences and whatever. So it's not really that much of a surprise. It's money.
I don't actually think I've ever caught a full episode of Oprah Winfrey, to be fair. Trying to rack my brain if I ever have, and I don't think I have. The only thing I remember about Oprah is when she moved to Twitter, it caused a bit of an outcry, because of the amount of people that flocked to it, but that's all I can remember, I think. Right, moving on from Microsoft, unless Roy's got anything else to add. My other bit of news, which is a very quick one here, it's about Ubuntu, and it wouldn't be a normal episode if we didn't at least mention Canonical at least once. And that's Ubuntu is moving to a rolling release instead of a 6-monthly release cycle.
Well, it doesn't.
So,
it doesn't.
Sorry.
It doesn't do that. That's a rumor, and it's been. What were you going to say?
Well, what I was going to say, it's been talked about, and I was going to ask for your opinion on whether you think that was a good idea or not.
No, they don't do that. It's false.
Is it false?
Yeah, it's been passed around. First, it's been proposed as a question or a quote or taken out of context, and eventually Canonical had to come in to make it very, very official. This is not true. So,
well,
it's interesting because the person who announced this on behalf of Canonical was a former
Tim, this is the
Microsoft. So
sorry, God.
No, I was going to say, this is the point where you come in and say, oh, hang on, my clock's stopped. It's April the 1st on my clock.
Oh, no, well, what I was going to say was, this was something I picked up just before I managed to bite my own lip and injure myself, and I'd never really paid much attention to the news. But it does actually raise a very valid point to me, because when I saw this rumour, and now obviously, as Roy has kindly informed me, and I've got egg on my face that it's been dispelled and it was just a rumour, I personally thought it was a very good idea. And I was going to look at discussing why I thought it was a good idea over a 6-monthly release cycle. But yes, it seems like I've been knocked on the head with that one. What I would say is, just very quickly, is that I think it is a good idea because the 6-monthly release cycle, I think, is a psychological barrier for a lot of people who use Ubuntu. Certainly, who I've introduced Ubuntu to, they seem to look at a 6-monthly release as with a bit of skepticism. Well, they want to stay current, they want to stay on top of the latest version, and why is it being developed so quickly? I think with a rolling release, people are constantly being upgraded. I think that's seen as a more desirable thing, and it's certainly the way Sabian that I'm using works, and I think it's a far better system. I don't know if you've got any opinion on rolling release or regular release, Gordon?
Well, for me, I see it quite a lot in the Mint channels, that people come in and they're under the assumption that they have to upgrade. And when a new version of Mint comes out, that they have to upgrade, and that's just not the case. Mint is based on Ubuntu. It still has the every third version is the long-term support one. And I mean, there's no reason. Mint 9 is the current long-term support, which is Ubuntu 10.04. And if people want to install it and sort of forget about it for a while, then there's no reason why they have to upgrade, and people just assume that they have to.
And that's what I mean by the